So good afternoon, welcome to Poundbury. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thank you for having me, Simon.
So perhaps you'd, for the audience, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Ian Girling and I'm the Chief Executive of Dorset Chamber. We're the accredited Chamber of Commerce for Dorset.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the chamber structure across the country, because I've come across quite a few.
Okay.
They all seem to run differently. So
They are differently. So we're chambers of commerce. So in terms of the way chambers work, you'll be familiar with local chambers, town chambers. So we have a chamber here in Dorchester, for example. We have a Weymouth Portland Chamber, Shaftesbury Chamber. So those chambers operate at a very local level.
Okay.
We usually working with volunteers, volunteer committees, volunteer kind of committee boards as such.
Got it.
We operate on a fully commercial basis, although we're not for profit, we still have to be sustainable. So we charge for our services.
Of course.
And our income comes through our membership services that we offer, and they'll be different to those of a town chamber.
Yeah.
We run events, exhibitions, put my teeth in.
Had one this week.
Things like awards as well.
Okay.
And other kind of major programs. We also deliver international trade support to businesses, so we are qualified to deliver support and advice and documentation to businesses that want to trade overseas.
Okay.
So that's sometimes still a bit of a secret about what we do, but we are
no idea.
Yeah, so it's a really important part of what we do. And the support we can give businesses looking either to expand existing markets or look to trade internationally for the first time, we can offer some really good support there as well.
Is that global? So anywhere in the world?
It's a global network. So we can also drop businesses into any chamber in any part of the world as well.
Got it.
And you'll get a really warm welcome straight away. So as a launching pad for business going international, that is a fantastic service.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that.
And we have an accreditation. So we're accredited by the British Chambers of Commerce.
Okay.
So we have to meet a certain standard in terms of delivery and our governance and our financial stability to achieve that accreditation.
Okay.
There's generally one accredited chamber per country. We have to pay a fee for that as well, and that fee goes into supporting the British Chambers of Commerce, which is effectively a team in London pushing government on behalf of business constantly.
Right.
So we're running surveys, we'll be meeting ministers on a frequent basis, government will be looking to consult with us on particular issues around business, and we'll be really fighting the corner for business. So we can really represent businesses at a local level, but escalate those issues very quickly to a national level. And we've had issues where we've had a business come to us with something specific and actually being able to put that in front of a minister.
Really?
Yeah,
that's very powerful, isn't it?
So that kind of connectivity to a national level is really important.
Yeah.
As you say, we are all independent, we're all different. So, some of us have different brands. There is some national branding you can adopt.
Yeah.
We haven't chosen to adopt that, but we are all separate organisations, basically.
Yeah. Very interesting. So I was living in Hertfordshire prior to this, so I can tell you the local chamber up there appears nothing like Dorset Chamber.
Yeah.
So what is the magic that Dorset Chamber does that's different to everybody else?
Chambers of Commerce can have a reputation of being old-fashioned, and I've always been quite open about that. And the name Chambers of Commerce might imply that as well.
Yes.
But I've always believed that the chamber needs to be somewhere that's really interesting, it's really engaging, it needs to be inspiring, it needs to be fun as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, meaningful and professional, and actually help businesses grow their business. Bottom line, that's what we need to do. But the world has changed a lot over many years. The world has changed. It's not an old-fashioned business grey suit world anymore.
Yeah.
The way we do business has changed, and I've been really keen as chief executive that we are modern and fresh and innovative as a chamber of commerce, and that's the promise that I gave our board when I was interviewed for the job just over 12 years ago.
12 years, wow, that's an age.
12 years ago.
It doesn't show, you look as young as ever.
Thank you. My hair wasn't as grey then, but my previous thoughts of the chamber that it really needed to be pulled into the 21st century. And I was very honest with the board, and we've set about a real mission around making the services more engaging, massively improving the inclusivity, making the chamber much wider in terms of its reach. So when I go to an event now, I used to go to chamber events many, many years ago, and I thought they were quite grey, very male-driven, male-dominated, older men in the room as well. And now when I look at our events, I see a really busy room that's full of younger people, older people,
Very good.
really good mix of males and females.
Yeah.
And it just, lively conversation, a really welcoming environment. I'm very keen that people feel very welcome when they come to our events.
Absolutely,
and we have a really strong focus on it.
Do you think the business landscape has changed? So the number of people that are coming into the business, are in business these days, particularly from a diversity point of view, females versus males, do you think there's a lot more females running businesses today than there were 20 years ago?
I
Do you
think
that's had an impact?
there are. I think there needs to be more.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that, yeah.
I work with many women in senior roles, which
Yeah.
is fantastic, and that's really represented on our board as well. I think one of the challenges when I look at running programs, and I can remember a couple of years ago running some peer network programs, and we were really looking at people at a senior level, and the number of applicants that came through were in the strong majority from men, basically.
Yes.
And it was kind of symbolic, really. There's still a lot more to do in terms of creating pathways for women to go into senior roles.
Yeah, of course.
But there are a lot of women in very senior roles, and I'm fortunate enough to work with those, with many of those as well. And that's something we really believe in and really support. I think one of the other kind of things that I've always been really keen on within our chamber is the contribution and purpose of business within wider society.
Yeah.
Business is not just about directors creating profits at the expense of poorly paid workers.
Agreed.
Business has a really important role to play in terms of giving people fulfilling lives. Taxation, is the backbone of this country in terms of the services that it funds, the NHS and everything else, the welfare state system. So business has a really important role to play, and business has a role as a really important responsibility within that as well. And we've always been really big advocates of that. It's something my board have always believed in. So we've done a lot of work that's around, leans towards the ESG agenda. People aren't using the word ESG so much at the moment, are they?
Yeah.
But we've done lots of work around health and wellbeing.
Okay.
So probably 3-4 years ago, we ran a really powerful campaign around menopause awareness, which was for men and women. That's before it was literally much more of a taboo subject. It's come on a long way over the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah.
But we really focused on that, and that got national coverage, national television coverage, and I had organisations like the BBC saying, we're not even doing enough in our own organisation.
In their own organisations, no, absolutely.
We've done quite a lot of work around mental health. Okay. So during the pandemic, we put together a programme called Got Your Six, which was effectively a mental health wellbeing for business leaders. So, you'll have seen this during the pandemic. Many people were losing their businesses overnight, 100%, where things literally everything fell apart. And we'd see business owners in significant distress, not just financial distress, but emotional distress.
Well, the burnout, mental health, all that stuff is absolutely crucial.
The thought of losing your home and the knock on to family life and everything. So we did a lot of work around mental well-being for business leaders during the pandemic.
Very good.
And we've also done quite a lot of work around mental health, wider mental health as well, and also men's health as well. So we've had particularly strong focus on men's mental health. 75% of suicides are still male. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. We've also done a lot of work around prostate cancer awareness and also bowel cancer awareness as well.
Very good.
So I think those are kind of different things for chambers to be
100%
doing. And some
more
businesses,
than just the business.
And some businesses, that well-being area is really important for us. Your staff are your most fundamental asset in your company. And I've had some businesses come along and say, I've been in the chamber for years, but that event was just absolutely fantastic. It was so meaningful.
Yeah, there's stuff that people don't think about. I think that's the key, right? So, whilst we're all aware of it in your business on a day-to-day basis, do you ever think about mental health as being a challenge? No, typically not, because you're worrying about the next sales order or shipping the next batch of product. So how do we introduce that? So it's a great initiative. I love that.
You will only, being successful in business, positive mental health, having a good level of mental well-being is fundamental within that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, of course, mental health, if it's off kilter, causes all sorts of other issues. Typically bad sleeping habits, bad food habits, not taking exercise and stuff when you need to, all of that stuff contributes to everything that we do in business. Your performance is directly related to your health.
Absolutely.
My grandfather, who was a wise man, used to say,
it's so
health
true.
is wealth, right?
I so believe that as well. And your decision making, if your mental health isn't good, your decision making, your leadership, they're all going to be impacted. The impression you give your staff, how you're perceived as well. It's so important.
Yeah, love that. So let's rewind a little bit. So if we can go back all the way to when you first started work, just give us a view of what the Ian Girling at work looked like.
So the first Ian Girling at work was wearing a pair of overalls, walking down someone's driveway with 100 weight of coal on their back.
100 weight of coal?
Yeah, 50 kilos. But in those days, 112 pound a bag of coal.
Wow.
So I was brought up in North Dorset in Shaftesbury.
Yeah.
And my father was a coal merchant. We had a small family business.
Okay.
And I grew up during my school holidays and Saturday mornings worked in the coal yard, cleaning lorries and, sweeping the yard and all that type of thing. And did my A-levels at school, wasn't sure what I really wanted to do, so worked in the family business for a couple of years. So I spent a good couple of years as a coal delivery man. So it sounds Victorian now, doesn't it?
It does a bit, but
we were one of the few vehicles allowed to drive up Gold Hill.
Oh, is that right?
In Shaftesbury. Wow. So we had an old TK Bedford, no power steering on it.
Blimey.
It was so just turning a wheel without 5 ton of coal on the back was difficult enough. We'd go up and we tuck the bags in at the back of the lorry into the bed and put it into first gear, crawler gear, and literally just crawl up Gold Hill. You couldn't stop because you'd never get going again.
No, absolutely.
And you'd have all these tourists at the top of the hill taking photos of you, and you'd like waving, get out of the way, turn the lorry there, and then do the deliveries on the way down. But of course, someone had to stay in the lorry to keep their foot on the brake, because you couldn't rely on the brakes to hold the lorry. You'd come out and the lorry would be disappeared. And then you would go down into those little cottages on Gold Hill, and one of the first things you would do, they all had little coal cellars, is tap the steps first of all to make sure that you weren't going to go through the planks with 100 weight of coal on your back.
Those were the days.
But I did that for a couple of years, and it was, it was really hard work, but I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Had really great fun doing it. It was really physical. It was really active. We were outside in the fresh air all the time. I really enjoyed working with the other guys doing it.
Yeah.
It was a kind of mutual respect. It was freezing cold in the winter.
Yeah, I can imagine,
bitterly cold. Really hard on the body. You'd be freezing and soaked in the winter, boiling and covered in coal dust in the summer. But
you're really selling it. Yeah,
it was. Do you know what? It was such a valuable lesson to me in terms of hard work.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
But the way that you can enjoy hard work and personal resilience as well. Yeah. So that wasn't a career forever. My dad wouldn't. There was no long-term future in the coal industry.
Sure.
So I went into accountancy, which was awful. During that time, I applied to join the RAF to be a fighter pilot, which I was really keen on doing. Yeah. Got through to final fighter pilot selection, was measured for a cockpit and everything.
Really? Wow.
But failed on the hearing test. So that was that dream over.
Yeah.
So I went from that to being an accountant.
Being an accountant instead.
Oh, God, it's the worst thing I could have ever done. I was a terrible accountant.
Really?
Yeah, I went from that great environment outside that I've just talked about to basically sitting in an office, staring out of a window, dealing with endless piles of paper,
of course, punching
numbers in.
No zero in those days.
No, it was soul destroying. It just wasn't for me, basically.
Sure.
I think in the accountancy industry has changed now. Obviously, I work with a lot of accountants, and actually, it looks very, very different as an industry to work in.
Yeah,
but
completely.
The very small, old-fashioned practice I was in, it just didn't work for me. So it didn't work out, and I ended up losing my job, very politely, thanks Ian, but it's not right for you. I was like, well, you're right, thank you.
Yeah.
And I got a job very fortunate, I landed a role in the public sector, which was in an audit role. But I went from a very small business into public sector organisation with probably about 120, 130 staff in there.
Yeah.
It was really busy.
And that's a total change from a small.
It was lively. Office. It was good fun. There was a lot of young people in there. There was a social life. It was right in the middle of Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I didn't know many people before, and it enabled me to make friends. But also, it was big enough that there was a bit of career opportunity, bit of progression opportunity within there. So I was there for a few years, and I moved in from a financial management role into a financial management role, and then kind of various operational roles, and then more into a strategic type role in terms of working with businesses, really trying to encourage businesses to train and invest in training with their staff, running a range of programs. Landed a job with Business Link. So that was so the company is called WSX Enterprise, but we delivered the Business Link service for Dorset and Hampshire.
Okay, that was so it's a government initiative nationwide, run by local businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we delivered that. The company I worked for had about 200 staff at the time. Right. Delivered the Department for International Trade contracts as well.
Oh, okay.
Innovate UK program as well at that stage. So
I've got my Innovate UK award somewhere on.
Okay, fantastic. That was great. And then the small business minister came along and shut down the Business Link service, which wasn't a good move.
No, definitely not.
And the whole thing was decimated and taken apart. And people will remember the regional development agencies at the time. Yeah. Even they, were taken apart. So I spent 2 years there trying to commercialise the service, and wasn't particularly successful. It was really hard once you've established your customers as just receiving services for free.
Government-backed free service is hard. Then,
it's difficult, and it's quite interesting in terms of if they won't pay afterwards, how valuable is that service to them?
True. Yeah.
But during that time, the chamber role came up, and I wasn't headhunted, but I was mentioned that I'd be worth having a chat with, see if I was interested, and I went in and had a chat with the chief exec, and came away thinking it wasn't for me. There was a lot of work to do. I didn't feel personally ready for the role either. I wasn't sure whether I knew enough about running a business in itself, because it's not just, this is, you've got to...
You've been inside businesses.
You've been inside. Now I'm responsible for generating everybody's salary, paying everybody, and making that a sustainable business, which is quite a challenging business model. Yeah. So I decided not to apply for it, carry on where I was, and they appointed a new chief exec, and that just didn't work out. So they opened the role up again, and I thought, well, this time maybe I should apply. Yeah. Maybe the stars are telling me something. So I went through a couple of interviews and then gave a presentation to the board on my vision for the future. And I was very honest with the board and said, I think we need to fundamentally refresh this whole business on every single level. Got it. And even if you don't employ me, I think this is what you really... It's
still the recipe.
There's so much work to do. There's so much potential. Yeah. We need to be much more engaging. We need to be more creative. We need to be more modern. We need to have much wider appeal. Yeah. We need to change the way we're doing a lot of things. And
so do you remember what the membership was all those years ago when you started versus what it is today?
Yeah, so I think we were around 500, and we went up to around 800 at one point.
Okay,
that's when you look at it. That's not bad for a chamber of our size. Yeah. And we always do want to take the role that we're just. Of course, we want to look after our members, but we also want to add value to the wider business community as well. So not everything we do is just for members.
Right. Okay.
So, for example, yesterday we had a business expo at the football club in Bournemouth, and we would have had 500 people there yesterday. Wow. And that event was open to non-members as well as members, and it was free to attend as well. So our reach is quite wide.
So from a commercial point of view, you're also funding the expo.
Yep. So we don't receive any government money at all. Yeah. I think we should, to be honest, because the government rely on accredited chambers. They're always quoting chambers of commerce in government, but don't give us anything to support our sustainability. If we do receive public sector funding, it will be to deliver specific projects. Okay. So it's not grant funding. It's funding to deliver a project. So there's money coming out, and we have to bid for those on a commercial basis. Okay. Yeah. So our income literally comes through our membership income. Yeah. Events like yesterday. So yesterday we would have funded an event yesterday through sponsorship and also charging people with stands, basically. Okay. Yeah. But obviously we've got the venue to meet and all those other costs.
Not inexpensive.
And the amount of work that goes on in the background to organise an event like that. So it's a tight business model. We have one of the things I'm really proud of is our business partner program.
Yeah.
So they used to be called patrons.
Okay.
And I felt patronage was basically a high level of membership.
Yeah.
I felt patronage was really old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Uninspiring. It felt a bit like sympathy, like they're doing us a favour.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So with following discussion with them, we rebranded those guys to business partners.
Okay.
Which for me is a much more engaging relationship.
Yeah. What is that role then?
So we generally have one per sector.
Okay.
So we have the university, for example, representing higher education. We've got Bournemouth Pool College and Coastland College as well. We've got the airport. We've got businesses like Van Mossel, which is now Paul Audi and Paul Volvo.
Yeah.
As our automotive partner, we have a company called Reed Steel in Christchurch, fantastic business. They're our steel construction design business.
Great.
Got the airport, they're our airport partner. So those are high level memberships, and the membership there, that's a really valuable income stream into the chamber. We try to really personalise the account management that we offer those businesses.
Yeah.
And that's actually a very stable part of our part of our business.
Yeah,
we've had a good year last year. I mean, we delivered some really fantastic projects. So we did quite a lot of work around work experience for the Dorset Careers Hub, creating new, exciting work experience opportunities.
Brilliant.
We lead what's called the LSIP, which is the Local Skills Improvement Plan, and that is a program that's funded by the Department for Education.
Okay.
And the initial phase of that program was a 3-year review of training provision against the skills needs of businesses.
Okay.
So we are there to work with educational organisations to make sure that the training they're delivering to young people and adults as well is really in tune with the skills that businesses need to grow and prosper. So there's really very strong connectivity between education and business.
Very good.
That dialogue has always been there, but the LSIP programme has really strengthened that, and we've led that on behalf of the Department for Education across Dorset, and I think we've done a really good job with that.
Very good.
So we are so well placed to really build that dialogue between education and business.
Yeah, huge that is.
And it's something we really believe in. So that's been really successful for us, and we're just starting a brand new 3-year program as well. So I'm really proud of that piece of work.
Yeah, very good. How big's the team?
So the team, we're about 14 people.
Okay.
We have an office, really lovely office in Tower Park. And I'm really proud of our office. It's a really lovely place to work and good place to visit for our members to come in. I really love it when members come in and see us, and we have a lot of visitors to the office. About 14 people. I got everybody back in after COVID.
Yes.
So obviously we were all home based. I spent a year in the office on my own.
Right.
After about a week at home, my wife said, "Could you just go back to work? You're really getting in the way, basically." The office is only 5 minutes up the road.
Absolutely.
So I spent a year in the office on my own.
Yeah.
And we survived COVID really well.
Yeah, good.
I did a huge amount of video work. So one of the things, when I say we don't just serve our membership, all the guidance was coming down. Obviously things were changing. Remember furlough and all the different grants coming through. And I would do really frequent videos from my desk with my phone on a little stand. Stand. Yeah. And I would do a 2 or 3 minute video, and we had thousands of views on those.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And they went out across the whole business community. And that was really strong positioning for the chamber. And we were seeing, the feedback we received, that we were really there when times were tough. The chamber was really there to support people.
That's amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
So,
clearly I can tell you really enjoy it. So that's always good to see.
Yeah, and COVID was obviously so difficult, but there was a real challenge, wasn't there, for everybody in COVID. And we were worried like the business could fall apart overnight with this.
100%. Yeah.
But we survived it really well, and the team did a great job. But when it was over, I was really keen that we got people back in, working remotely. It doesn't work for us.
Well, you've called your bank lately, haven't you, or somebody else, and found somebody's working at home to deal with your query, and you're waiting hours on the end of the telephone. So
the other thing I found was even though we're very small, we still have different departments. I've got international trade, I've got my membership team, I've got my events team, and everybody was doing what they needed to do, but they were literally connected to the business by a piece of copper.
Absolutely.
And didn't really know what was going on the wider basis.
People need to interact.
They do, and people need to know that so and so is coming on as a business partner, and we're working with this company now on international trade, and this is our strategy for working with BCP and Dorset councils. And people just really were working in quite an isolated way. So as soon as we could, we got people back in.
Very good.
It really works for us.
Very good. So obviously the services you deliver are incredible for established businesses. What about new businesses? So I've just met George down the road. He wants to start a new business tomorrow. What can the Chamber do for George?
Okay. So, certainly for George, there'll be some events that he can come along to for free.
Yeah.
So those events would be a mixture of learning opportunities and also networking.
Okay.
And networking, face-to-face business contact is still so important.
Agreed.
And I know people think networking can be awkward, uncomfortable, and I think we've all been to probably events where that is the case. We have a really strong focus on making sure that people receive a really warm welcome. No one is ever standing in the room on their own. We have a team of ambassadors who are champions for the business community, in the business community for the Chamber. And one of their specific roles is at the events you make sure that no one is ever standing on their own.
Really good.
But for a £300 membership, sounds like I'm doing a sales pitch, doesn't it? For a £300 what we call essential membership, one of the very first things you'll get is access to expert advice around taxation, HR, and health and safety.
Okay.
You'll get up to £1 million worth of legal expenses insurance as well. That would cost you, if you went to buy that in the high street, that would cost you £1,700.
Wow.
We're part of a nationally negotiated deal through the British Chamber of Commerce where we can offer that within our membership.
Very good.
And for me, that is just on its own. It's a no-brainer. Offers a full document library there as well. We also run a part of the membership, also what we call business toolkits. Okay. So those are free workshops delivered for our members by our members on key business topics.
Okay.
So our members are very welcome to deliver those, and all members are welcome to attend those. And those are really interesting. They're delivered online, and they are really good learning opportunities.
So huge diversity, I guess, in terms of what people are delivering. But
we've got everything. HR. We've been doing stuff around AI, the human elements of AI. We've been doing some stuff around business exit strategies. It's directors' responsibilities.
I love it.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's really good.
But I think from the startup side of things as well, that's a really interesting area. I've run lots of startup programs before, which will do the 3 days on this and business planning and finance, etc. I think the startup support is so important to learn from other people.
Absolutely.
There's has the idea got legs? Is it going to work?
Absolutely.
Do people understand what it is? Don't mortgage your house. Remortgage. Don't put all your business finance on a credit card. You must protect your personal financial well-being. And I think those kind of emotional sides of starting up are so important to look at as well.
So if you looked across all of those people that are members, what's the most common thread that you see amongst all of those people? We talked a bit about mental health and burnout and what have you, but if we ignore those just for a second, what are they looking for most, do you think, as a member of Dorset Chamber?
I think ultimately they're looking to grow their business. That's really important. We are about business growth. Businesses being successful and growing, whether that could be steady state in some businesses. Some businesses, you'll meet businesses don't have huge aspirations to grow, but they want to maintain steady state. I think businesses will work with us to meet other businesses, and we offer that that's an enormous opportunity that we can offer people. We offer businesses a really fantastic opportunity to raise their profile and stand out. So many areas now are so competitive, aren't they? Competitive. And we offer businesses a really super platform to raise their profile. That could be through press releases, so our members can put press releases on our website, and we publish those. We've got a very strong social media following. We have newsletters that go out. Obviously, we run our magazine. That's the only printed business magazine in Dorset.
Great. And I haven't seen one of those yet.
Have you not seen those?
No.
I should have brought stacked down with me. I'll put you on the list to get them.
Thank you.
That's called Dorset Business Focus. We're really proud of that magazine. So you'll find that packed full of stories. I think that magazine's got a really important role to play as well, where it's a really difficult business climate. We all know that it's very challenging. There are so many good news stories going on with businesses too, and it's really important that we focus on those. And that magazine will be packed full of really interesting stuff that businesses doing great things. And things like the expo yesterday, I couldn't be there yesterday, but those business expos, when you get 300, 400, 500 people in the room, the energy levels are through the roof. The positivity is there. The networking, the follow-ups that happen. It's really inspiring.
Love it. So that's the expos are always great. Conferences are always great. Organising those and taking part in those is always fascinating. I think we do our BizX conference every year. 2 days full of inspiring speakers. Everybody leaves determined to go and change the world at the end of it, which is part of the view, isn't it? And I always say there's a lot of challenges in business which you can see in this little tiny rear view mirror, when actually what you should be doing is looking through that great big windscreen about what's next. What can I achieve? What possible if I do this?
And as you'll be telling your clients every day, taking that time to step back and look at the business and focus on some of those areas, it's so important.
Yeah, agreed. But so if you had a clean sheet of paper, if you could do it all over again, would you do anything differently with the chamber that you've done over the last 12 years? So
I can't. I'm happy with everything we've done. Mm-hmm. It's a challenging business model, and I think every chief exec in the country every chamber chief exec would probably say, actually, if we started again, let's have a shared resource base.
Okay.
So let's have one CRM system. Let's have one supplier for HR, those back office services. And we're trying to work collaboratively as much as we can. But ultimately, when you've got 53 independent businesses, that's not
hard.
That's not that easy to do. So from a structural basis, I'd probably change things, and there are still opportunities to do that. And I work on the international trade side. We work with other chambers as well. We offer support for each other when staff members may be on holiday and that sort of thing. In terms of the support, in terms of the way we offer, I think we're going in the right direction. The business support kind of environment is always very busy. Mm-hmm. There's always lots going on. We always have lots of competition. Lots of businesses start free networking groups and so forth, and they'll do that as part of their marketing budget, which is really customer acquisition when it's our kind of bread and butter as a business. So we have to keep, we have to stay aware of what's going on in the community.
Of course.
I think, I've talked about the fact that we need to be engaging and people need to really enjoy the chamber, and it does need to be an element of fun to it, but ultimately we are serious as well about business. We have got a very serious lobbying role to play as a voice for business. Didn't know that was as strong as it is, but and that's being strengthened as well. We're just about to be releasing a series of policy statements or positioning statements around areas such as affordable housing for Dorset, digital and road infrastructure, skills, business reform and taxation, and so forth. So we'll be pushing on those areas.
Business rates, I hope
business rates is definitely top of the list on there. And we'll be working closely with the councils on those, and we'll get the MPs involved on those. Of course, we can elevate up through the British Chambers of Commerce. So we've got to get our positioning right, in as much as want to be enjoyable, engaging, relevant, modern, current, but at the same time quite serious about what we're doing, making a difference. And I think we do that. So there's from an operational perspective, I got us involved in a project a few years ago, which I knew was the wrong thing to do. And one of the things I've learned is to trust my instinct. And within 3 weeks of engaging on this new program, I knew it was the wrong thing to do. And I had to back out, and it was a little bit embarrassing. It was all my fault completely. And afterwards, I thought, I knew that was going to go wrong.
Got to recognise it.
Why did I do that? Why did we do that? Because it looked commercially really good.
Sure.
And, it looked like it was really going to help.
Well, we say the same about mistakes, don't we? They're a method of learning, aren't they? So next time you trust your gut. So.
But I think, I've had a really steep learning curve along the way.
Because you hadn't run a business prior to this.
No, I hadn't run it.
So you are essentially running your own business.
I'm responsible for running the business. I have
paying people's mortgages and all the other stuff you talked about earlier on.
Absolutely. So I have a board of directors. So I have a fantastic board. They're made up of different individuals from the business community. But they are non-exec directors. But they are still fully fledged directors. They have responsibility for the business. So I'm accountable to the board of directors.
Of course.
We have a board meeting every other month, but much more frequent contact in between. I have a president that I will work with. So my president came in December was Gareth Sherwood, and this is really interesting. Dr. Gareth Sherwood, who is Deputy Lieutenant as well.
Oh, okay.
And Gareth is the Chief Executive of the YMCA in Dorset, right. And I think this is really quite groundbreaking that we've got a community leader as the president of a Chamber of Commerce.
That is really interesting.
I've not seen that happen anywhere else, and we have a before we started today, we talked about a very strong focus on community, which I think is really important for us. And that fits really well. So I will work really closely with Gareth. So my board are very supportive.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we should have a conversation after this about the YES programme, because it's directly focused on exactly that level of individual, if you will, that end up in the YMCA. Or Night Stop is somebody we're working with, as well as Dorset Mind. So again, the same thing. Brand new programme. We should definitely talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, brilliant.
But again, that's a diversion from where you would expect a chamber to be in terms of appointing somebody like that.
Yeah, I think it is, and I'm really proud of that appointment, and Gareth's doing a fantastic job, and Gareth is very strong in community. And he is not typical chamber president that you might imagine.
Right. I love that.
So I'm really proud that we stand apart. I really do feel we stand apart as chambers of commerce.
It's interesting. I meet a lot of people and we talk about lots of different things, but your enthusiasm for a business you've been in for 12 years is really quite incredible.
It's a challenge. It's a real challenge. I feel really privileged to have the job. I do feel really fortunate. The job was life-changing for me.
Brilliant.
Your job is a really important part of your life, isn't it? For your family and everything.
So many hours doing it,
don't we? I feel so fortunate, and I really enjoy it. I've really got the backing of my wife. I've got a really lovely family, and I've nothing to be ungrateful for. So take time to reflect on that. I think it's really important to do that, isn't it?
100%. Well, that's what life is actually about, isn't it? So
I
always say the same thing. You're put on the planet to live a life, not to work. So if you're going to work, you need to make sure it rewards your life, either monetarily or just through job satisfaction. We don't care, but that's most important.
And it sounds a bit corny, but just being the best person, doing the best job that you can, being the best person that you can, and trying to make a difference. So, I mean, charities is a really big area that we do a lot with as well, which I'm really proud of. We've got a very strong charity membership. Brilliant. And we're doing some great stuff with charities as well. And the third sector plays such an important role, and is so often undervalued as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we've just signed up for the Boeing 747 pull with Mind in August, so I might give you a call and see if you want to come along and pull a Boeing 747 down the runway.
I'd rather do that than the parachute jump I did 18 months ago.
Oh, did you do it?
Oh, goodness me. I was terrified beyond belief. We did it for Lewis Manning.
Wow.
And my daughter's the marketing manager, and she was like, "Oh, go on, Dad, do it." I think I might have had 2 or 3 gin and tonics one night, and I went, "Yeah, all right." And as soon as I said it, I went, "No." No. She went, "No, Dad, you said yes."
Oh no!
I am literally absolutely petrified of heights.
Wow.
And my 75-year-old mum was going to do it with me as well, and just as we announced that we were going to do it, she was taken really poorly with a leaking heart valve. She's fine now, but she had open heart surgery. Right. So jumping out of a plane was not high on the agenda. So my sister stepped in,
right?
And she's well known in Shaftesbury. She runs a bar in Shaftesbury, and we raised $6,500 between us.
Wow, very good. But, oh my God! Then, so what was the experience like of actually jumping out? I was
quite calm. So in the run up to it, I was quite calm, and we got on the plane, and you sit on this little bench seat, basically, that runs the length, two benches that run the length of the plane, and you've got your instructor that you're strapped to in front, and then the video person in front of me. So we got up to like 4,000 feet, and I looked, and the fields were patchwork, and we weren't even halfway up.
Wow!
And my instructor was talking to me. You can't really hear what's going on, but he's like making sure I'm tucked in and everything. Yeah. And then the door opens, and suddenly so the wind coming in, and there's a bloke standing there, and he just lets go. And suddenly the realisation that you're 2 miles high in the sky, and that bloke just standing 2-3 foot away from you, it's just like let go and jumped out of a plane. So we shimmied over, and at this stage, my heart is pounding. Every muscle in my body is frozen. And you have to sit on the edge of the plane, but lean back into the instructor. And I was there, and I was going, "Oh my God, oh my God,
what am I doing?
Oh my God." I was like, everything. I was like turned to granite, basically. And then we rolled out the plane. I was like, "Oh my God." And oh God, it was absolutely terrifying. But I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy? Did you enjoy the flight?
I did enjoy the free fall. It went really quick. The free fall. I really did. I really did enjoy it, and but I can't deny there was a real relief when the chute opened. Basically, we drifted down, and then I didn't have any. They didn't tell me I should have put earplugs in. I couldn't hear for about 3-4 days. I was completely deaf for days. But I really enjoyed it, and I was really proud we did it.
Oh, so. Yeah, I'm very impressed. I always said I can't do it because I haven't packed the chute, so I don't know it's going to open, and so I'm out. But maybe now you've done it. Maybe I'll take that as a hint.
Yeah, it's. I was pleased I did it.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Well done. Ian, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I've so enjoyed this afternoon. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll have you back in a year or two to follow up
brilliant.
and see if you've managed another parachute jump.
Probably not. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant.